a tree, roots down deep, rooted like a tree, rooted in the mystery. Everything will change, nothing stays the same, and through it all my roots shall remain. Everything will change, nothing stays the same, and through it all my roots shall remain. Rooted like a tree, roots down deep, rooted like a tree, rooted in the mystery. Rooted like a tree, roots down deep, rooted like a tree, rooted in the mystery. Everything will change, nothing stays the same, and through it all my roots shall remain. Everything will change, nothing stays the same, and through it all my roots shall remain. Rooted like a tree, roots down deep, rooted like a tree, rooted in the mystery. Rooted like a tree, roots down deep, rooted like a tree, rooted in the mystery. Everything will change, nothing stays the same.
Peace, Hiyoko. What's going on? Salute to everybody that's tuning in. And if you are tuned in, please share this video with at least. This video gonna be fast. It's gonna be short, but it's gonna deal with the Carolina slave codes. Talking about it in 40. Cuz sent me the Library of Congress document, so we actually have the original. But in there, and we just gonna start off. We're gonna get it moving. In there, what they did was they reenacted laws that were already set in the 1719 Commonwealth. So there's a text that you all can get. One of those books that I want y'all to get is called The Yamasee War. It's by William Ramsey. Now, in that particular book, what he explains is that the Indians, the Indians and their field work, and these are Indians that were being brought in 1670. You also need the book, The Invention of the Creek Nation, as it starts in 1670. But these Indians were different than those Indians who were already in the East. Now, those in the East really became known as the Yamasee, but there were many different groups. So some of these are originally from the East. Some migrated to the East a long time ago, but then you have these newcomers coming in. Now, what did that set off? What it set off is the need for racial classifications. And the difference between 1719 and the 17 is that there were two different wars. The 1719 war, in that region for what was said to be said, this was a branch off of the Yamasee War. And 1740 is what they were considering to be the Stono Rebellion, which were still people or descendants of that war that happened 25 years prior to that 1740. Now, what's interesting is in the Library of Congress, here we go. We're going to go ahead and share this. Make sure this pull up. What's interesting about all of this is that it's giving you the status of Negroes. I think I have to share it to y'all. There we go. Let me add it to the stage. It's giving you the status of these Negroes or whatnot. Let's see if we can zoom in a little more so you all can see. A little too far. So, Cuz, you there? Areem, y'all there?
Yeah, I'm right here, cuz.
Where you at, well?
I'm on here.
Yes, sir. So, section of this of the status of the Negro, his rights and disabilities. So the Act of 1740, Section 1 declares all Negroes and Indians, free Indians in amity with this government, Negroes, mulattoes, and mestizos who are now free, except to be slaves. So basically, if you weren't white, and what they meant by white, it was a pure sense of race, or it's racial purity. So if you weren't white, this was for you, right? Now it's saying that if you aren't white, you're automatically a slave. Now it says that the offspring follow the condition of the mother, and that such slaves are chattel personal. So let's talk history, and we're just gonna get it through. Women were the majority on the plantation. It was hard for them to get Indian, and I'm using quotes and not air quotes, men on the plantation that was older or over the age of 14. This is a fact. So what happened was they say, we can have more Negroes, or we can create a clear separation. If we say, shit, he's mixed, that makes them Negro or a slave, we have a slave race and we have a white race. This can also be found in the Yamasee War by William Ramsey. And one thing that he points out is that the Europeans basically had to triangulate the meaning of Negro. And the reason is because Negro and Indian at that time just so happened to be synonymous. Negro and Indian were synonymous. So Section 2. Now, under this provision, it has been uniformly held that color is prima facie or prima facie or prima facie. This is evidence, basically meaning that they go off what they see. So that the party bearing the color of a Negro, mulatto, or mestizo is a slave. That the party bearing the color of a Negro, mulatto, or mestizo is a slave. But the prima facie result does not follow from the Indian color. This is the clear separation, because you had darker indigenous people, or what we would later find out, there's a color actually put to that wasn't brown, it wasn't copper, but it's another color. So Indians and descendants of
About the,
Indians
about the
are
other B word.
go ahead.
Talking about the other B word.
Yes, sir.
Shit.
I got the letter.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, sir. So Section 3, Indians and descendants of Indians are regarded as free Indians in amity with this government until the contrary can be shown. In the second proviso of Section 1 of Act 1740, it is declared that every Negro, Indian, mulatto, and mestizo is a slave unless the contrary can be made to appear. In 1740, if you was an Indian, you was a slave until it can be proven that you weren't a slave. Now, the burden of proof shall lie on the defendant. That is on the person claiming the Indian plaintiff to be a slave. Right. Now, if a white man say, well, if you say, well, I'm Indian, and they say, well, he's not Indian, he's a slave, you would have to prove that you were Indian. So you would have to speak your language, know something about your culture. But even then, we go back up that Section 2. Under this provision, it has been uniformly held that color is prima facie evidence that the party bearing the color of a Negro, mulatto, or mestizo is a slave. But the same prima facie result does not follow the Indian color. I want to ask you all, when we talk about, let me get this to pull up. When we talk about Indian color, Now, this is 1740. What color were the Indians? Because there had to be a different color between these Indians and the other Indians. Because if you were Indian, you're a slave. But we base that off how you look. But that person has to prove that you are a slave. But again, they're basing it off how you look. So maybe this right here, let me see if I can share this tab. Maybe this right here can be a reason that these Indians look different. And we're going to get into some good detail here. We've got the lonely page. All right, perfect. Let's see if I can zoom in. All right, so let's see. Okay, now let's talk about the Muskogee. And I'm only going to read this part here just for, it's just something. But the Muskogee, they migrated and they crossed the Mississippi River. And they came into the Southeast. This is what we're looking at. Now it says that they settled in Alabama, they settled on the Chattahoochee, the Flint Rivers, and they went as far as the Oconee River. Now, it says that they didn't make any settlements on the Oconee until after whites began to encroach on the Indians of that country from the east. So there had to be something that separated the Indians and the niggas. They would say it would be admixture. This is their words. But it gets crazier because they end up telling you that this latter clause of this proviso is now regarded as the furnishing rule. But what are you talking about? Indians and descendants of Indians are regarded as free Indians in amity with this government until the contrary be shown. In the second proviso of section 1 of the Act of 1740, it is declared that every Negro, Indian, mulatto, and mestizo is a slave unless the contrary can be made to appear. Yet in the same, it is immediately thereafter provided that Indians in amity with this government accept it, in which case the burden of proof shall lie on the defendant. That is, on the person claiming the Indian plaintiff to be a slave. Now, this latter clause of this proviso is now regarded as the furnishing rule. The slave race, the race of slaves had to zoom in. The race of slave Indians, or Indians not in amity with this government, is extinct, and hence the previous part of this proviso has no application. They just killed you on paper. Let me show you. So they tell you, and we have to share this. Come on, StreamYard, let's get it moving now. Pull this back right here. We're talking about section 3.
Easy addicts.
So when we go to section 4, the term Negro is confined to slave Africans. And their descendants. It does not embrace the free inhabitants of Africa, such as the Egyptians, Moors, or the Negro Asiatics, such as the Lascars. So remember, we're gonna walk this up to the top, right here in section 1, right? So all Negroes and Indians are slaves. It says section 1 declares all Negroes and Indians to be slaves, the offspring to follow the condition of the mother, and that such slaves are chattel personal. Is at that point, because now you're not calling them Indian or Negroes, they're slaves. But then you start calling them Negroes because Negro and slave was synonymous. But then you said, well, hey, the race of slave Indians or Indians not in amity to this government right here, excuse me for moving that, to this government is extinct. So you Google a confederacy, because again, the Yamasi were not a tribe, it was a confederacy, many groups of people. Are not all of them getting along. Some of them not liking each other. Some of them didn't even want to be called Yamasi. But every group that was considered to be Yamasi, that was dark skinned or that appeared like a Negro, was considered Negro. But now Negro means slaves. But now Negro is confined to slave African. But it doesn't embrace the free inhabitants of Africa, such as the Egyptians and the Moors. So we go to a book. We'll talk about a text that was written. This book was written, if I'm not mistaken, Thomas Woodward wrote this in 1820 or 1819, somewhere up in there, 1819, 1820. Let me see if we can find this. And one of his students was writing based off of his work. He was talking to someone, and I want to read what he says here because this is going to take us to a deeper conversation or a better conversation that really needs to be had. What page is that on? 131 or is it 130? Give me 2 seconds. Let me find this real quick. We're gonna go here. We're gonna go here. Let's see. All right, so it's page 135, 130. Okay, 130. Now, when he's talking about Woodward, he says, and I quote, he gives the same account substantially, and it says, of the migration of the Indians from west of the Mississippi that General Woodward does. So what he's explaining is there are some Indians that come from the West, and they were not the same as the Indians in the East. And he says this because I think he locates the Yamasi, I write from memory, in the middle and eastern portions of Florida, and says they were occupying the country when the Creeks came. They were occupying the country when the Creeks came.
Dagger, that mean they're not the same. Creek.
Now, this is interesting. We're going to pause there. We're going to hold it there. Because when the Creeks came, see, when the Creeks came, they did their best to begin taking over the Southeast. So they end up settling on the Ochese. And the Hichiti called them Ochese. And in turn, the Ochese called the Atakata Hichiti. They became a family at this time. And I'm going to show you that they became one and the same. I'm going to show you that they became one and the same. This was the origin of, this was the beginning of the fall of Kofa Techekwi. Is when the Muskogee migrated into the east, they found their mother people, which were the Atakata. There was already wars between the Atakata and those people known as the Yupa'a. This is why what we read is that the Creeks, they crossed into the east, but then it moved into Oconee until the whites started to encroach from the east. Pause. And then they started to settle these different lands. So it only makes sense that when De Soto came, he didn't, when he met the original people, because the Appalachians were also a part of Yupa'a. When he started to travel up from Appalachia, he started to run into people on the outskirts of the actual Union. So this is why those people considered Kofa Techekwi to be just that, Kofa Techekwi, or Kappa Techekwi for that one in the West. It's because the language of the people, De Soto did not know. He didn't know that of the Yupa'a. He knew the language of the Musqua and those who we would now know as Hichiti speakers. Now, when they migrated into the east, um, the Muskogee warred against the Alabama. Um, they warred against the Okcha, right? They even had wars against certain different, certain Hichiti groups or whatnot. But when these people became one, they became one in Florida. So I'm going to see if I can find that piece where it's talking about Florida. And we're going to get into the description because that war between these groups is what caused the Negro Act, right? Or that Negro Act for them to separate them. And the Yamasis themselves here, we're gonna go to the notices of East Florida while that pulls up. There's a friend of Thomas Woodward. He also gives a description of the Yamasi in this book. I need you all to grab this book. It's called Notices of East Florida with an account of the Seminole Nation of Indians. And here he talks about the Seminoles and who was originally in possession of the East. And in his description of the Yamasi, we're going to go here because he spoke to some of the indigenous people, Bartum, and talks about the Yamasi having started a war against the Carolina colony, speaks on them being defeated. It also speaks on them becoming slaves to the Creeks, right? Their hereditary enemy that you all can see on the screen. I'll zoom it in, touch screen, laptop, so we can move a little faster. So their enemies were the Creeks, right? You say that no further mention of them occurs in our histories until the Seminoles came into notice, by whom they were conquered and exterminated. So he's saying that the Yamasis were supposed to be conquered and exterminated, which takes us back to the letter written by the student of Thomas Woodward. Let's flip, because y'all got to move with me. Because he says, a war of extermination was waged by the Creeks against the Yamasis. And finally, at Tallahassee, the last of the warriors were killed. But about 1,000 of the young Creek warriors took sweethearts among the Yamasi girls and saved them from death. According to a law among Creeks, these were required to remain out of the nation for a year for purification. Before the end of the year, the young warriors concluded to make wives of the Yamasi girls and set up as a nation for themselves, which they did. And the Creeks called these warriors Seminole, meaning wild man, crazy, madman, etc. As the Seminoles, perfect, were afterwards joined by the outlaws and runaways from all other nations, and soon became a formidable nation, as Uncle Sam knows. Now, Colonel Woodward speaks of the Seminoles as a mixed race and gives the meaning of the name as wild or runaway or outlaw. I presume this is the race we know as the Seminole. I won't repeat that. Let's go back to the notices of East Florida. And we just read and we're looking at how they attempted a war of extermination. But the question is, if there were 1,000 Yamasi women, now remember, Yamasi is many tribes, not just one, it's many tribal people, many communities. Now, say 1,000 of these women, right, and we're using their number, survive. The last man of any tribe of any clan in the Southeast, every man in the Southeast, every woman in the Southeast, every child in the Southeast knows the bloodline goes through the mother. So obviously the Yamasi were not exterminated if they still had over 1,000 mothers still alive, which means that they would have had children, which means the bloodline is still alive. Pause. Now, simple things. Now, the Yamasis, and this is important. See, the Yamasis, as we have seen, were driven in 1715 within the limits of Florida. And there are persons now alive in that province who remember in their youth having seen some of the descendants of these people who were in the condition of slaves to the Seminole. Now, they relate that the former were remarkably Black Indians. Let me zoom in on this because I know I'm not fucking tripping. I ain't the best reader in the world, but somebody, anybody, correct me if I'm wrong. They relate that the former, if I'm reading correctly, the former would be the first person mentioned or people mentioned in the sentence or the paragraph, and the latter would be the last. So the former were remarkably Black Indian. But wait, it only makes sense that this cracker would consider them to be Black Indians because what? The race of slave Indians. These were the same people kicking that ass in Carolina. So from 1719, when they wrote it down, 1740, when they put it in the paper and say, wait, fuck it, everybody who not white, man, they slaves. And then if you were Indian and you can't prove that you're an Indian, you a Negro. And Negro, not Negro mean African. So what we said before don't matter because all the nigger Indians or all the slave Indians are now extinct because they're at war with the government. That's literally what that said. So now you ask or have to ask, well, damn, is that why the majority of the households that had Indian slaves were 22% in Carolina? It dropped 9%, but then the number of Negro slaves grew by over 36% and 37%, went into a 40% within a 4-year period from 1716 to 1720. Where the hell did all these niggas come from? Where did they come from? See, it gets real when we talk about this because the Creeks, the Muskogee will tell you that they are originally from the East, but their own stories, their own elders like Philip Deere will tell you they migrated to the East. See, let me read something to y'all, something y'all may not know. It's something you may know, but something you can take with you, right? Now, let me go up, because this book get real. We're gonna borrow this. This is Creeks and Seminoles. Go on and get this too. I done gave y'all 4, 5, 6 books already. People ask, what book are you reading? What book is that? Go get the book. Go get it. I don't go get it. Reason I'm showing you the PDFs is because I have the books in the room. I have 2 right here. Creeks and Seminoles is right here. Just it's crazy. And the Yamasi Indians. The rest are in the room. Now, in this book it gives a lot of detail. They did their work, and they're being very, very, very unbiased. Now, when they talk about the Creeks and the Seminoles, they talk about the Creeks and the Seminoles originally being one people. Hint, hint. This was when they came together in Georgia as the Creeks migrated into the lands that their Ichidi or Ichisi or Atakata ancestors were. And they migrated from Mexico, Texas, all of that good stuff. So let me slide this screen down. Woody, 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 woo. It says, oh yeah, right here, Muskogee is the language spoken by most Creeks today. Muskogean refers to the dominant linguistic family in the Southeast, which includes Muskogee, Hichiti, Choctaw, and other distinct languages and dialects. The term Muskogees includes those Southeastern Indians who were usually known as Creeks and Seminoles, though Muskogees spoke not only Muskogean languages, but also those in entirely different linguistic families such as Yuchian, Algonquian, and Iroquoian. It says Muskogee, Muskogee, because that's how you say it, Gagli, is plural, as are Shawnee, Yuchi, and many other tribes. Okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. All right. So I think it's around page 8 that they began to talk about the Muskogee migration. And during the migration or during their migration, what they were explaining is, and here goes that 1670 date right here again. Look at that shit, man. It's too easy. So the Hichiti word for these Muskogees was Ochesi. The English settlers founded Charleston in 1670, and within a short time, Carolinas traded with Indians in the Southeast, among whom were those living on Ochese Creek, so the Upper Okmulgee, right? Now, the traders, it says traders from Charleston and their pack horse trains stopped by Ochese Creek, bartering manufacturers for deer skins. They referred to the Indians there as Ochese Creeks, Ocheses, and eventually simply as Creeks. Pause for a moment. Um, one moment. Let me see if I can get how far I can go back on here to tie this in. See how far I can tie this in. Hmm. So that migration is mentioned by Bill Grantham, and Bill Grantham, he snapped. It's on his page 3. Let me find this in Bill Grantham. So I'm gonna tie this in for you. Come on, come on. Page 1, Road of the Muskogee. Okay, let's see. Hmm. Let me see if I can find this. One moment. Let's see if I can find this real quick. Because he talks about the same thing, and but he goes in such detail that he can tell you town for town that the Muskogee stopped there, and it's crazy. And he can tell you like who they fought and all of that. So I'll just go back where we were and then walk into that. So the Ochesi, right? Coweta, Kushida, and Obika, these were the primary Creek towns, and these people eventually helped Europeans enslave darker people. Now, I know a lot of people on here claim to be Creek or like Creek Indians, but they are people that did leave Mexico and came with slaughtering and sacrifice here. So Seminole, the term Seminole is of Spanish origin, Cimarron or Cimarron, wild, untamed, referring to hostile non-whites, Indians, and Africans had the word Cimarron or Cimarron is actually, you can find this in the struggle for the Georgia coast. And in fact, they were talking about the Wale. So again, this is not a tribe of people. This is a word used to describe many different groups of people. So to be Yamasi Seminole, in reality, those are two confederacies that are dealing with different groups of people who may and or may not have been culturally homogenous. Excuse me. So the only thing that brought them together, or one of the things that really brought them together, um, was skin color. Literally, because Europeans, they couldn't tell the difference, but they wasn't, not Europeans, the Englishmen, because the Spanish knew the difference. The Castilians knew the difference. The Englishmen, them boys wasn't worried about, yeah, like they weren't worried about they weren't worried about tribal affiliation. It's either you were gonna do what they wanted you to do, or you was a nigger to them. So now that we have this established, right? This is already established. So you're a slave, you're a Negro, you're a Negro, you're a slave. To create the separation, what we're gonna say is um, anybody who's fighting the government is a nigger. So it could be at that point that culture starts to be lost for the folks, because you say that the Yamasi were extinct. And when you said the Yamasi were extinct, you then said they had mothers who were alive. So let's talk about the sketch of the Creeks. Let's learn a little bit more about the Creeks, right? So to understand Creek cosmological and mythological beliefs, it is necessary to understand the historical context in which these beliefs developed. The social entity that became known as the Creeks was composed not of culturally homogenous people, but of groups of people from diverse tribal and linguistic backgrounds. Many of the cultural groups spoke dialects of the Muskogean language. Speakers of the Muskogee dialect of the Muskogean language includes Abika, Kusa, Kowita, Kushita, Hilawi, Ufula, Hilabi, Wakokli, Tukabachi, Okja, Pakana, and Seminole. These are the proper. Why? Because your original is Abika, Kusa, Kowita, Kushita. Those are your four towns. Holy Wali, these are people who migrated from the east to the Gulf Coast. Eufaula are people who migrated from the east to central Georgia, to the border of Georgia and Alabama, to the Gulf Coast. Okja came down from Alabama into Georgia and into Alabama. Now, the speakers of the Hichiti dialect of the Muskogean language includes the Hichiti, the Apalachicola, the Shawokli, Okmugi, Oconee, Tamakli, the Chiha, and the Makasaki. But who are these people? The Hichiti are the Atakata. These are the original migrants. Apalachicola are Yuba'a, but they were close with the Hichiti. And they were close with the Shata, because the Shata actually pronounced their word properly in their language, dagger. The Sowokli are people that was from the South. These are Shawnee who never left the South. Okmugi were also a part of the Atakata. So was Oconee, Tamaki, and Chiha was mixed, Makasaki or Yamikasuki. And you have the speakers of the Alabama dialect of the Muskogean language, which included the Alabama, the Kushati, Tawasa, the Powokti, and the Mukasa. So you have the Yuchi of the groups. Okay, perfect. Now, says the Yuchi, I'm going to go here. The Yuchi, the Alabama, and the Hichiti already occupied the areas that are now Georgia, North Florida, and Alabama, when the Muskogees migrated into the region from the west, incorporating many of these groups into their political organization. The term Creek was first used by the English in the late 17th and early 18th centuries. When Western Muskogees intruded upon several lands occupied by the Hichiti, some of the oldest inhabitants of the Southeast, they were referred to by the Hichiti as Ochesis. British traders came to refer to these Muskogee people as Ochesi Creeks. Okay, and they talk about their settlements. Um, let's see, they have stories, more stories about them. Um, coming into the land and taking over. But when we put all these older texts together, these books are old. When we put all these things together, it only makes sense about who they're talking about. And what's interesting, what's more interesting about it is Woodward held no punches. See, many are stuck on the Yamasi name because most documents that you read are English. So if we had to go into the Spanish documents, Creeks wouldn't exist because the Spanish didn't know any Indians by the name of Creeks. They were calling them Uchis. The Spanish, the people that the English began calling Lower Creeks were called Uchis before the English came up with these are the Ochese Creeks, and they were going to create an upper and a lower Creek nation. Them creating an upper and lower Creek nation was no different than them creating an upper and lower Yamasi nation. That's European as fuck. There was no upper and lower Yamasi nation before there were Europeans here. And you can call your favorite person and give them a number and then we can have the conversation. These plantations and these settlements were created for people to begin getting rid of the dark skin, or we're not going to say dark skin, but those who were remarkably Black Indians, who were said to have been some of the oldest inhabitants. Let's go back to Woodward. Let's see what Woodward has to say. Let's see um, what Woodward has to say. See if we can pull this up. Did I go too far back? Yeah. Uh-oh. So we should be up in here. Woodward. I think he started around 13, like between page 13 and 18. Up in here. Yeah. So the Alabamas differed from the Musqueam or the Muskogees, as do the Choctaw from the Chickasaw, but were what the Indians called the same fireside people. Remember, Shata and Chickasaw are brothers, but Chickasaw's Atakata is just another way of saying Tikahasa. Tikahasa. Someone said Chickasaw. Literally, if you know the language, you hear it. These are the same word, different dialects. So they're the same people, but there was a separation. But that separation was slightly different from the Alabama because the Alabama weren't Musqueam at all. They were enemies. Now, you can find their languages. I'm going up, but for me clicking the button up and down, the screen is going up. That's weird. So I'll just use the mouse. Uh, they slid me down too far this time, so I'll just use the mouse here. Let's finish talking about that migration that we started. Let's finish talking about that migration that we started. So we got one more page to go. One more page to go. Mm-mm-mm. Okay, perfect. Here we go. So the Creeks, after a short stay at Baton Rouge, moved and settled on the Alabama and its tributaries. The Black Warrior, and look who right here. Hold on, look in the P2, man. I gotta flip the camera. I would have to flip the camera. Bud just came right here and laid next to me. But so when they settled these rivers, there are Indians that are already in the east. Now, the Indians that originally inhabited from the middle parts of the Carolinas and Georgia to the seaboard were known as the Yamacraws, or Yamasis, the Oconees, Ogeechis, or Shawanoki, or people of the Glades. The Shawanoki are known as the Shawnee. The other Indians know them by no other name to this day but Shawanoki. Some would say Sioux. That's not Sioux. Being English is retarded. They don't give you what you need over top of this S to pronounce the sh. So it looks as Sowanogi, but it's Shuanugi. These were people who were already in the South before they became Shawnee and moved into the North. Because when you read this text and you read Creeks and Seminoles and you read the Notices of Florida and you put all of these old texts together, you start to find out the Muskogee conquered their way from Mexico all the way to Ohio, came down to the southeast and helped the Europeans take over. And as they helped the Europeans take over, their names became that of the major players or those who were the elders within the East, which is crazy because now the Creeks or the Muskogee are now trying to lay claim to mounds in the East that predate them. But not only that, you have people who are unknowingly assisting them because they will tell you, well, the Wale spoke a Muskogee language. They will tell you that Hichiti is Muskogee, but they're doing this to become friends with the white people who help disenfranchise their folks. And there are niggas who assisted in the disenfranchisement. See, when they talk about the one palm belts, the sign language, and all of this, right? This lingua franca says, nevertheless, interpreters were essential and included every shade and ethnic background. The largest single group, however, as will be discussed more fully later, were pure and mixed blood Africans, Black Indians. The crackers would consider to be pure blood Africans whole time these are Black Indians. Or they would consider them to be mixed blood Africans, but then they're calling them Black Indians. Now, if we go back, just if we go right back, and we find that these people were remarkably Black Indians, they're telling you who was in possession of the East. The issue is, it comes that you have to understand or find where you fit within the name Yamasi, being that it's a catch-all, it's a big classification. But for anybody to say there were no Black Indians, there are definitely nigga Indians, and they were here, and they were originally in the possession of this land. And what's interesting about this is that being that this is the original, let me get off here. It says the Oklewaha tribe, right? And remember, we did the bill in the Oklewaha. These are pale skinned Indians today. They are not indigenous at all. They're Cherokee, and they're associated with other Yamasis. But hey, what can I say? If you accept them, you accept them. We don't. They don't come from this. And it says they are marked by a deeper shade than any of the Seminoles and are probably descendants of the conquered race. Notice the groups of the Amasi are considered to be the conquered race, right? In Simon's work, and in 1740, they consider them to be the race of slave Indians is extinct. So they're considered the conquered race, the race of slave Indians, because they were dark skinned. Literally, literally. And again, you all have to get these books, you have to get these different texts because they're gonna help. But many people don't want to, they don't want to read. Now, in the 19th century, hard-pressed Seminoles looking for refuge paddled over to the Bahamas for safety. Yeah, so they didn't have any compasses, they claim, or whatnot. How you gonna tell them? How you gonna say them people ain't had no compasses? Yo, green, you weren't even there. You weren't even there. But okay, we continue. The term Creek is of English origin, talk about the Creek setup, blah, 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 blah. The oral traditions talk about how the Hichiti speakers had lived for many centuries throughout the Southeast, including the Okmulgee. Subsequently, Western intruders. Look at the word intruders, and the Muskogee are considered intruders who settled upon Hichiti land. Isn't that interesting? What y'all boys think about that? They're considered to be intruders. Mm, mm, mm. That's crazy. I ain't gonna lie. That's crazy. See, again, claiming to be something and you don't know the story is sick. It's sick. And I'm saying that because there's so many people who are claiming to be Creek and claiming to be the original inhabitants of the Southeast, not knowing in reality them people was unaliving the original inhabitants in the name of the European or in the name of the Englishman. See, let's talk about this. And it's crazy I skipped here. This is the war between the Alabama and the Muskogee right here on this page. And they say that they were very warlike. Um, and are not cast down by defeat. So they, did all the whooping and they kicked them boys' ass all the way up the Missouri River. See, the Missouri was the first Mississippi, but people don't know that. The Missouri is actually longer than the Mississippi also. But the people who crossed over had to cross the Missouri, then cross the Mississippi to get into the East. So that's how we knew exactly who these people were when going through these different migration legends. But with them fighting off the Alabama and settling in the East, and then someone pulls up and now they're there early, they're speaking their language, you can think that they're the older people. But it says that the Muskogee, no longer finding enemies to fight, took peaceful possession of a country which they had just conquered. This is why the other book calls them intruders. See, they established themselves on the river Coosa, Tallapoosa, Chattahoochee, Flint, Okmulgee, Little and Great Oconee, and Ogeechee. So when you see these words, well, those are Muskogee words, it's because, damn, they took them over. So, of course, their language would become the lingua franca. This is literally how you have so many Muskogean words in certain parts of Georgia and Florida. But in Florida, you might have more Hichiti words, or they might have diverged from Hichiti into Muskogee. But when you get into Carolina, South Carolina, you start to notice the words become Suan. North Carolina, start to notice these words become Suan or Cherokee because the Cherokee also migrated to the Carolinas. When these people came and took over, they looked slightly different than their ancestors. But the ancestors look different than all of the niggas that was in Carolina and coastal Georgia and really in Florida. Because you got to remember, Latama was one town. That name that the Yamasi come from is one town. That one town was under Okati, but Okati was, you see where I'm going with this? That was a little union they made on the outskirts of Upa'a. Why do you think when DeSoto was trying to get people to take him to Upa'a, nobody from nobody who spoke the language of the Upa'a did it. It was always somebody who spoke Muskogean or Hichiti, or what we call Musquat or Hichiti. Someone would say Kofa Techekwi because they're English speaker. The F, or what you know as that symbol was first used for. So that word Kanos is how Pardo get Kanos for Kofa Techekwi because he spoke the language of the people from the land because his guides were Siouan speakers and not Muskogean speakers. This is why the town Pardo documented were different from those towns that DeSoto were documenting. And if you notice, DeSoto was running into Miku's. Pardo was running into the real clan chiefs. See, with him running into the real clan chiefs, they were called Wale. I don't think y'all really want to hear that. but it's okay. See, a nigga will tell you the word Wale is an exonym. It comes from outside, not knowing that's a somebody mispronouncing the word Oradi, and then somebody else came in and pronounced it Orada. So it's a title, my nigga. You give a fuck who vouched for you. Do you know what's really going on? And if you don't, what's gonna happen when you get exposed? Y'all never heard nobody say that in y'all life, and I just told y'all that at the 56-minute mark. So I know when I hear it again, I know where it come from. Trust me, and I'm gonna check that shit. You have to know, because if your grandma was originally from the East, but you claim to be Muskogee, you may be Muskogee based off affiliation. But where were you before that? Because remember, these people that took over these lands were the same people who waged a war of extermination on these remarkably Black Indians. Cause y'all got anything y'all would like to add on to this bill, if anything?
You ran that shit down for real. We never. Legend goes.
Nope. So they good. They probably tied into
Yeah,
something.
today good. You ran
But
it
I just want to leave
down.
this screen right here.
Turn on that one.
And I want to do something else. See, he talked about Mikonopi. And Mikunopi simply is a title. Yeah, it's a title. It just means the young chief. Now, it says that talk about big chief Pain, but it says that he is said to have lived to near 100 years of age, and late in life married a Yamasi woman, his slave. Notice they keep equating Yamasi to Negro to Black Indians to slaves, by whom he had the late Chief Payne, who bore in the darkness of his complexion, an unequivocal mark of his Yamasi descent. Now, Yamasi is multiple groups of people, but what is the thing that they had that people kept noticing? These niggas was Black. Considered a conquered race to Simons, and a race of slave Indians who are now extinct. That color be prima facie. It's Latin, so I'm gonna give many dialects as many dialects as I want to. But skin color is what makes you who you are. I sent you the link to your phone. Let's see. I got 20 minutes. I gotta get to this function. Let's see who wanna join. I'm gonna drop the link down here in the comments. And I was going through the comments. Genealogy. No, I don't do genealogy. That's Red Crane's job. Crane cutting hair right now. So mhm. See, I have Gullah blood. Gullah blood, that's more admixture. I know people like to say that Wale and Gullah are the same word, but what I would ask them is to prove that linguistically. And I'm not saying, oh well, look, they look like they're spelled the same. Oh look, they sound the same. Homophones have really been kicking a lot of people's ass
Facts, cuz.
in this online, this internet, with these internet Indians. I'll tell you this much. Those are two different towns of people. People have to realize in the areas that they're talking about, okay, well, the Wale was here. So the Wale and the Gullah must be the same. But one has to ask, where were the Wale? That was one town. The people you're calling the Wale was one town out of thousands. It was the most southern town. So what about Tolamato? What about Abahi? What about Euphiligi? There's so many different, you said
Talaguili.
I'm so many different towns.
Taliqua.
So when you say that you're Wale or you're Gullah, and there's some cultural, you have to know exactly what branch one comes from. So that's the work Red Crane can do. Like Crane's so live with that, bro. Like you can find, okay, well, my people was this, and he can actually pinpoint that origin on paper, right? Because you're following the paper trail. But the family has to have a story which predates paper. It's there. You got to find, find the right channels, the right people to talk to. Um, Peace. What's good, family? What's going on with you? Whoa.
Iyoko.
Who is that?
Iyoko, nephew.
Hello. What's good, cuz? I'm just glad you tuned in. You definitely gonna have to go back to the first 56 minutes. On the first 56 minutes with straight drops. So you definitely gonna be interesting to you. What's good? Talk to me.
Iyoko nephews, man, y'all hitting that bitch on a
Let's
home run
see.
from off the top of the
Try to give you the
mound.
flow. Hello, hello.
Yeah. You can hear me?
Oh, yeah, I hear you.
Oh,
I
I
hear
don't
you,
know what
Paul.
his. Let me add him to here. What we got
Yeah,
going
we
on?
can. You can't
Yo,
hear
yo,
podcast. Yo, cuz
that's Crane. I think that's Cuz right there.
that's
I don't
Ren.
know if I don't think they could hear me. They
Yeah, we
probably
can
could
hear
hear
you.
me,
I
but I
can hear
can't
you.
hear them.
We
We
can
can
hear
hear
you.
you,
Or
cuz.
y'all probably can hear them, but I can't
I
hear
can hear
them.
you.
So I'll drop and then I'll come back in to see if I can hear them and let them build. So give me
We
two.
hear everything.
Let me see. Give me 2 seconds. Yeah, they can hear me, but I can't hear them. You know what that means. Hold on. Let's see something
Yeah,
here.
they're trying to mess with your voice on the live.
Hey, yo,
Uncle Will, y'all.
that boy
Oh,
can hear me.
yeah. Yeah. I hear you.
You can hear me, Mont.
Yeah.
All right. What's up, Paul?
What's happening? What's going
The
on,
mic
baby?
check.
Man,
Can
not
y'all
right
got
time,
me
baby.
now? There y'all go.
Hey, yeah, you
Yeah.
definitely hit that right on the head, bro. Cause it'd be a whole lot of. We already knew this was gonna happen, though. Like a whole lot of. It's a whole lot of Wale talk on the. On
Yeah,
the. On,
hey, look, cause we not. I number saying some shit too. You just ain't be respond. I been saying I don't think you could have hear us.
Yeah,
Right,
I couldn't hear y'all boys at all, bro.
Cause
right.
Mon had said something a couple
oh
minutes
yeah, I
ago.
said something a few times. Yeah.
I had said something a couple times or whatnot too.
Yeah, I
But
thought
yeah,
you.
man.
I was
Yeah, y'all hit.
responding to it.
But yeah, but like y'all was hitting and touching, and like you said, your oral stories that you have and the traditions that you have, and then the paper trail will come and validate to confirm what you already knew already, And there's like you said, the paper trail is the trail to the cold case of the crime of reclassification, because dealing with international law to denationalize somebody, that's a crime, you know and this is crimes that went all the way back to those years that we was talking about on the phone, nephew, to 400 years or so, you know.
Right, right. That's actual fact. Oh, let me see. Nard, what's good, cuz? You can unmute if you free.
What's up, fam? Yeah, man. Everything you saying, Lil, you already know what's up, man. Today my birthday, man. I'm head out west to Appalachian country.
Yes,
Happy
sir. Happy
birthday.
birthday, family.
Happy
Man,
More
birthday.
life, more
appreciate
blessings,
that.
man.
Birthday.
Yeah, for sure. I'm about to hit up Lake Jackson, Lake Miccosukee, man. got the fam with me. So yeah, just go say some prayers, some blessings to the ancestors, whatever. But yeah, everything you're saying,
Nah, for
man, people
sure.
don't realize there's definitely a difference between the ones out east and the ones that came to the east. You know that that 1740 Negro Act slave law, it explains it right there. Why if the ones that caused that Stono Rebellion, they were all Africans, why would you make Indians within that law?
Right.
It's self-explanatory. I mean, it's right there, and then it's just like you say, traditions and stuff. Appalachia, that's that's ancient. So I already know, according to the ancient way, like I am my mother's
Child.
oldest son, and
Right.
she's the oldest sister, and then all the way back to my four-time great-grandmother. Each of those foremothers are the oldest daughters. So I'm actually a Holata of the Appalachia of my bird clan. So people don't realize, Mikos were basically over towns, Olatas or Ratas, and then the Inaha, which was the second in command. Those were actual real clan
Ooh,
chiefs
talk
over their
that.
families.
Talk that talk, boy.
Our boy on
Yeah.
fire
Listen,
right
that's
now.
real. That's real talk. This ain't no play. This is straight up. No matter what, you don't need to join nothing. That's within my family. I can go live in Alaska. I could go live in Cambodia, and I'ma still be a Holata.
Right. Big
The
fact.
ancient way, not no go join the tribe and we electing a chief like we electing a politician. Nah, man, bro, this is real deal. My great grandmother gave me that position outright, and it was afforded to
Yes,
me
sir.
outright just before I was even born. I was born as the oldest grandson, oldest nephew. It was born to me whether I want it or not. So people got to realize there's a difference. A lot of people, talk about even the Lumbees, they just got recognition or whatever. These are all, politics. We talking about ancient ways. What did your grandmother, what did your great grandmother, where did you line up in your family? These are ancient ways. We are only looking at the ancient ways. That's it. But yeah, everything found, like you say, look, you know, um, all y'all, man, it's a real deal, man. Just every video is real deal. Just you hitting the nail on the head.
Hey, like they say, if it ain't traditional, go home.
And Reem, I definitely got to link up with you, man. Every time I be coming to Charleston, man, I be like, man, I forget about Reem. I was just up there like 3 years ago. I was over at West Ashley. My people,
Man,
Grand Toes, West Ashley,
so listen,
Summerfield
check this out.
Clubhouse.
Check this out. No, so if you've been to Rand Tools, right, you literally around the corner from where I just bought that 3 acres of land at. And if you've been West Ashley, you've been where I stay at. You should have reached out and helped me, man. We could have linked up, go sit down, get a bite to eat and politic and stuff.
Yeah, because my great grandmama, she lived off 162, going back toward Hollywood and Megan. All that back there, man.
Right there on Ravenels, what else? What a damn Petersfield, Adams Run.
Petersfield, yeah. Adams Run, Jacksonboro, Parker Ferry, all that.
Yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
definitely gonna link up, man.
Yeah, bro.
For
You got
sure.
when you come back in the city, bro. Please help me, bro. Help me. We get out.
I'll probably be up there within
Wale,
the next 2 weeks.
See, last then I could be looking forward to seeing you. I could keep in contact with you too.
For sure, for sure. But y'all go
Wale,
ahead.
and also, don't you know that the Negro laws of South Carolina and Virginia both parallel one another?
Yeah, because everybody piggyback off Carolina.
I'm about
The
to say that.
Carolina law word for word was enacted in Georgia. But
Right.
Nard, I'm still waiting on this bill with you and Crane, man. I know you feel I'm trying to see what we gonna do, man. I need y'all boys to link up, man.
Yeah, we definitely need to link up, Crane, whenever we get a chance, man. Definitely. I'm down. Cause I got so much that I mean my foremothers done share with me, man. I got so much. That's what I was telling when I come to Charleston Reed, I'm gonna bring
Yeah.
all my stuff and show you in person. All my stuff. I mean documentation back to 1775, like documents. Like I got a lot of stuff to show y'all, man.
Yeah, man. Look, I looking forward to doing that, bro. We can probably help each other out in ways that you won't believe, bro.
Oh, for sure. I'm down,
And
man.
matter of fact, you
Anything you
know
need.
what? If you come down here in 2 weeks, man, I've been supposed to doing this. My bad to my brothers and my cousins and stuff like that, man. I supposed to been going around by his mound literally sitting off I-26 or whatnot. I don't even think these people bother this stuff. They know it's there, and you can tell it's there when you look at the infrastructure. But shit, if you when you pop up, shit, we can go out there and check them out.
You said I was 26.
Yep, right off I-26 in between Jedburgh and next and exit.
So check this out. Reem. My family got land when you get off 26 off Jedburgh Road, Wild Game, all that stuff. I've been looking at the news next and all that. They trying to annex that jump right in the heart of what my people is, man.
Man, that's what I'm on at. It's literally off the right in the middle of the. You got to really be paying attention. You would think it's just a dirt mound with grass on it, but
Oh man,
when you really look at it, it's a step pyramid, man.
we definitely. As soon as I touch ground, I'm gonna let you know before I get up there. But we gonna that's what we need to do, Reem, for sure.
Yeah, we sit down for real. I'm trying to tell you, bro. We can go and do that together.
Yeah, for sure. I'm down,
Love,
man.
love, but hey said, I want to learn in person. Don't leave me out. And then she said, it's a boy club only. No, it's not a boy club only,
No
baby.
love, no love. You very welcome. You be off of King Street. Where you hold up? You I might
I
have not
see.
see you
Yeah,
somewhere
cause
before.
I ain't add old girl them to the panel in a minute. They just been sitting back. But nah, definitely not.
Buddy.
Yeah, yeah. So, but
I was
yeah.
just reading green. I was just in my class studies last night. You know, I had to pick up that green fire. That green fire, man, just I love green fire. I love it for sure, man. Everything laid
Here,
Look,
out, man.
one.
Everything
they
laid out.
still look, look, they still buying the blue fire and the green fire and trying to twist it and teach it like it's their own.
Nah, they can't do it, man. Because they can't do it because they're trying to implement their way, modern way. And it's no matter what you do, you know, you can't, you know, that if you're not including that ancient way to the fullest, you're not listening to Big Mama. You got
Right.
people in modern day tribes where their spouses are full blown other races and they're in the tribe.
Facts.
Mm.
Nonsense.
Actual facts.
Nonsense. Absolute nonsense.
Oh, and peace to the family. I know you said you was traveling with the family. Definitely got to shout out to family. I definitely want to
Oh
thank you
yeah.
too, bro, because you do crazy work, bro. Like once I got to a certain spot, you had hit me. You like, hey, cuz, well, you made the right move, but don't let the people play with you. From that point
Yeah,
on, you've been
man.
locked in.
Yeah, that's what I do. I'm
Yes,
like, man,
sir.
bro, I'm always, you know, whether I look at my grandmama clan, which is my clan, or my granddaddy clan, bird, deer, both messengers. I'm in and out. I used to see stuff. I'd be like, hey, man, look, man, check this out. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm out. Look, silent assassin. Look, I'm dropping the message and I'm riding. Whether I'm
For
riding
real.
on the earth or in the sky. Like,
Yes, sir. But Paul, talk to me about this erasure. I know you made the statement about how it tie into Virginia. So what wisdom or what can you drop for the people about how it tie in and how it carried over into the later century?
Oh yeah, because um dealing with that law and stuff, and this is why I always ask the question, even when it went down to the Seminole War, right? They lumped everybody in together dealing with those laws. And you know what? At certain time they trying to differentiate and separate and then turn around and lump everybody in together. And it's like y'all double-minded. Y'all not stable. Once you classify everybody as the same as Negroes, and then you don't classify everybody as Negroes, you're trying to put a specific color to it, and then you come back and say, oh, well, y'all all Negroes and y'all all slaves. But then when they get down to Florida, right, and they get amongst the Seminoles, but then you had those who were from Guinea that went in with those tribal nations from over there, from what we now call Africa, and they went into the nation. But yet, if they didn't look like Negroes, how did Negroes from the other continent blended in with the Seminoles if they didn't look like Negroes? That's just like the story about Jesus being pale faced, but he went into Egypt. But you know, Egypt is all Negroes. That Jesus, white Jesus, would have stuck out like a thumb. So if you had Seminoles that look like they do today, do you think Negroes would have been hiding amongst them today and wouldn't stick out like a sore thumb unless they look like Negroes?
Or like Moshe putting his hand in the chest and bringing it out, leprosy. But I don't want to give him too much.
Right, right. That's the same thing. So when you say, oh, there was no Negro Indians, then how do the Negroes of Africa and the Negroes of the Southeast of America look alike? Because even in the Seminole War, old boy told Andrew Jackson that there was no differentiation to tell them apart. They couldn't tell who was who. They couldn't tell who was who. And that's written. So when you got people that's in denial and it's written and it's documented, but these people that don't know anything about the Southeast, they only know about Payne's Treaty, and that's one thing they know. But they're out there in the Midwest. They don't know what's going on. You know? Like you really gotta sit down and do investigation and research these things. And use it like a pubic comb. If you know what a pubic comb is for, you know you got to really sit there and comb that pubic hair to get whatever out to scalp it.
You're dark skin, you're from Africa. But I love showing that UG depiction on by Von Rick in 1736 off the Savannah. The boys all our complexion. So
Right,
how we from Africa? Them boys our complexion. Or we ran out of we just colored them brown. Y'all color the trees brown. We all come from the earth. Same color. Like
right,
y'all try this. I love showing that one. Like
right. And even when it comes down to the dancing, you know, when the Uchi and the Yama had to give, you know, ceremony to those and what they call the Uchi dance. You know what I'm saying? If you know, you know. You know what I'm saying? If you never heard my nephew say it, you got to go and comb through all his videos to listen to it. We ain't gonna say it right here. That means you got homework to do. We just ain't gonna give it to you on the platter like that all the time easily. You're gonna have to comb because the information is there. It's all on his page and everything. So why would they call it that kind of dance if the people wasn't that? And that goes into the picture that you talking about. And just like they had one guy,
When
he
when
posted,
I hop out the shower, I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna share it to the screen.
they had that same picture. And so while they asked him, he said, describe what's going on in the picture. The dude said, oh, they look like they barbecuing.
I agree, now, nigga,
Boy,
man.
man, when I said I was rolling in my bed laughing, I said, "Ooh, nephew did that shit." Nigga said, "What about like they barbecuing?" He said, "Don't get it screwed with that fire now."
And that boy saw a fire. That boy got hungry. That boy, yeah, they got some on the grill. Man, you tripping, son? Niggas is fasting, man. Ain't nobody eating shit. If you knew what was going on in that picture, bitches is hungry in that picture, man. They
Oh,
wish they
bruh.
had something in that fire.
Oh, bruh.
And like I say, bro, that one picture got 5 different scenes.
Going on.
If you got the original Blue Fire, I tell you the 5 scenes. In volume
Right.
2, I took it out. Cause I knew a
Mhm.
nigga gonna say, "Yeah, bro, well that is right there." Nah, I'll give that to the special people, and I'll
Right.
rewrite the book.
Right. Right. Right.
I'll rewrite the book. So when Mutt read his book don't say what your book say. He got a little bit more detail. He got the mistakes or the typos and all of that. Lord got Paul got the original. Otto got the original. Reed got
The
the
author,
original.
we got the author's copy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All one got all the correction and everything in them.
Yeah. Then I had to correct it and send it back. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but the thing about all of this is I want to touch on something Cuz said. Is you can know all this information. It's really what you do with it, right? Um,
Right.
I don't be on the net I don't be on here all the time because doing some shit. We doing some shit. But the thing about actually doing it is what you're doing and how you're doing it.
Right.
Some things look cool, but you gotta liberate your family. Liberate your
Right.
family and avoid ways of subjecting your family to be slaves. Remember, because they base that off look. So what do you do that's different than what these niggas doing? Because eventually, calling yourself a black Indian is gonna be like calling yourself, like basically calling saying you Al Qaeda or some shit. Because these people don't know how to do it. They get the information and they just go arguing with people, threatening people, making up tribes, all type of weird shit. You use this to liberate your family and you focus on your bloodline first.
And
And
you know
then
what,
you
nephew? I'm so glad you said that, nephew, because it's very pivotal and important that you said that because y'all just don't know what's going on. And they have a word that is a trigger word that is actually being used. And you have to know your family, like nephew say. You got to know how to say it right and do it right. Because if you say the wrong thing, them people go come and scoop you up and say that you are part of the Turtle Island Liberation.
yeah, that's crazy. Yep, Turtle Island, the trigger word you said that.
I seen a little bit of a video of somebody talking about. What is that group exactly?
So I thought that was
That
crazy.
Hmm.
that is a domestic terrorist group, allegedly. Allegedly, they arrested those that say they are part of that, and they say they was trying to do some strikes for New Year's, all around the holidays. You see, so we don't know if that's actually what that is, or we don't know if that is some COINTELPRO, or we don't know if that's coming from the other party. You know what I'm saying? So y'all got to get y'all family together, and how the old folks used to say, stop pussyfooting around and do this thing and stop playing. Get your family together. The government already showed you already. People when they were trying to wondering how they go eat because their stamps was being taken and all these programs and stuff. Man, family first, family over everything. I don't care if y'all got a family scrimmage or whatever. Man, squash that shit and get your family together and start putting your monies together for the family. Whoever needs support, you go ahead on and do that. Y'all be able to do that shit when it comes down to go to church. Y'all be giving them pimp pastors money and all that there. Y'all give people that's on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter that be putting out false information and stuff and everything. Y'all give them buku money and made them even fucking millionaires. Some of them. Go get the shit right and get your family right. That's the number one thing. Get your family together. I turn the floor over.
like I said, just piggyback, just document everything. Just whatever conversation you have with mama, grandmama, auntie, write it down, record it, and pass it on. Because no one can take your history. No one can take your
Right.
lineage. No one can stop you from being a son, a grandson, a nephew. You know, if you're a sister, a daughter, a niece, you know, matriarch, clan mother, no one can stop you from, you know, what you're born into. Like we said months ago, you're born into this. This is not something that you inherited, at least the ones that follow the ancient way. This is what we're born into. And about what
Hey,
your
no.
religion is or what. Yeah.
What you been saying? You the oldest boy, you the oldest grandson and the great grandson.
Right. So my mom is the oldest daughter. Then her
Mine's too.
mother is the only daughter of my great grandmother. Then my great grandmother is the oldest daughter of my great great grandmother. So that's how. And then it's like when it came down to actual like holatas, like we had a cousin. So this is how it was. My great 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 grandmother, she had 3 daughters. So the oldest daughter didn't have any children at all. Then the second daughter only had a son. So he was the holata. Then the third daughter was my great great grandmother, but she was the only one to pass on a daughter heir. So my great grandmother's first cousin, their mothers were sisters, so they were clan siblings. Because your first cousin, you share the same. Your mothers are sisters. You're like clan siblings. So he was the holata, but when he died, his first cousin, which is my great uncle, became the chief. So that's my great grandmother's brother. But then, according to tradition, once he would have died, his older sisters, which is my great grandmother, her oldest son would have became the holata, and then after him would have been his oldest nephew. But my granduncle and my actual oldest uncle, they both died before my great uncle. My great uncle lived to be 84 years old. So when he died, I outright became the chief. Anyway, so it's like you look all over the spectrum, and my great grandmother knew all this information because she was the matriarch. Therefore, she made me the chief in 2015 before she died at age 92.
Wow, that's
So
crazy,
yeah, I
bro.
mean everything, like that's why I said I can show y'all everything like outright. It just like whether I wanted it or not. That's the thing. Whether I believe in it or not, whether I want it or not, I'm a holata. I'm a chief. Because the
Right.
holata, that's what my actual tribe called the chief. You know, you have other tribes say Miko or whatever. They were the holata or orata, like
Oh,
Lip
Rata.
said.
I'm just about to say that.
Right.
Rata is the same thing.
One and the same. And the
Okay.
second in
Just
command
different
was the
dialects.
correct. And the second in command was the Aniha, which was
Right.
also known as like could have been the war chief or could have been the medicine chief. So
Right.
I was thinking now my brother, I only have one brother, but we come from the same mother.
Yeah, me
So
too.
he's my war chief, my Iniha, second in
So
command.
so then I fall in the same place you fall in because I the oldest on all sides.
Yeah.
The
When
oldest
I show
boy.
you all this, ring, you gonna be like, whoa. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
bro.
all
Like,
real.
yeah, I can't wait, man. That 2 weeks need to hurry up and go by. I ain't lying.
There ain't nothing for me to come to Charleston. I'm down in Jacksonville. That's number 3.5. You know, just right at 95, man. So
So you in Carolina?
no, I live in Jacksonville.
All right. Yeah, you 3 hours and a half. 3 hours and a half from me.
But I be in Charleston any given time. Like I can go up there whenever. Like, 'cause I don't work on the weekend, so
Shit, man. Pull up, bro. I looking forward to meeting you in person. Pull up.
for sure.
You more than welcome, bro. You come, I get my mama to cook us something real good and everything, bro. Just pull up.
Oh yeah, I need some good old red rice, but
See less,
we on
then. See
time.
less.
Hey,
I'm gonna definitely
look,
have a
red.
big pan for you. I have a pan you can take home.
Yes sir, that red rice, but
Yes.
What kind of red
Marlon,
rice?
you on
That
here, boy?
jambalaya, or you talking
No,
about
no,
Jafar?
no, Paul. Ours different. Ours
Yeah, yeah,
completely
yeah. I'm
different.
on
Now,
here.
don't get
I'm
me
on here.
wrong. Jambalaya kind of he similar, but he different. He different. He different ingredients.
They call it the Gullah rice, but ours different. That low country red rice, a little different.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
little different dialect.
Just a little bit, just a low TT. Like I
Just
said,
a
I
little bit.
think y'all
Right.
y'all's more on the Cajun side, on.
Right. Yeah, our red rice. Well, my great grandmama to make it like it ain't Cajun, but
Yeah, man.
that's really the only difference. Like that's
So
pretty
hold
much
on,
it.
hold on. This is a question for you, Paul. So how y'all make y'all jambalaya down there?
Oh man, we use real tomatoes, then we
Yep,
use the tomato paste, and we
yep,
use the tomato sauce,
yep.
and then you got the Trinity with the onion, um, the white onion, the green onion, bell peppers, and many other herbs and spices, and then you put your D&D sausage in there, you put your you put your chicken strips in there, you put some shrimps in there, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah, see, once I stop saying yeah, all them other ingredients, that's where you change it. That way you change that. I ain't gonna say them over the live. I ain't gonna have them boys stealing our stuff now. And that's why I take pride
That
in
why
my
That's why I
that
business.
say
why
what
that
that's
why
why
I
I
say
say what
nothing,
I
Reem.
say.
Yeah,
That why I say nothing.
Right, y'all
yeah,
jambalaya down
yeah.
there in New Orleans, Pa.
No, he's similar. He's real similar though.
What you say, Craig? What you say, Craig?
This is Reese. They ain't
That
green.
Reese, that
What you
Reese,
say,
man,
Reese?
cream.
So I need to try
Oh,
that
y'all both sound
jambalaya down
alike.
there.
What you say, Reese?
Yeah.
I need to try that Gullah. You said the Gullah rice.
No, it ain't called gala rice. It ain't called that. That's different. That's different.
That was some people. That was some
Some
people refer to it because some people are stuck on the Gullah, each African and stuff, but low country is what I would say. That's what I would say.
Mhm.
But it
we
red
could
rice though.
we could talk. We could talk.
Hey,
We
we
could
all
definitely
right
get talk.
there. That one
And
respect
Paul,
that.
I could reach out to you. I could drop something on you too. I just like I said, I just ain't want to tell you over this right here.
Well. You can get my number on the book.
I'm gonna hit you. I'm gonna definitely hit you. Really on the gram. See, I got you on the gram too. I just get a Facebook probably like a couple weeks back, but
All
I
right.
got
Yeah,
you
I'm
on
on
the
the
gram
ground
so
too.
I could DM you.
Yeah, hit me on the
Yeah.
ground too, Ring. 'Cause I'll follow you on the
What?
ground. So
Huh? You on the gram? What yours is on it? Let me go and follow you right now. No.
Hey, no,
'cause
don't
I'm
I got
already. I'm already.
or did we just talk? We talked on Facebook.
Matter of fact, no. Me and you already follow each other. I think I know who you was on
Yeah,
there.
yeah. We follow each other.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
all right. I'm gonna DM you. You gonna I'm gonna send you my number.
Okay, bet.
Me too. Me too.
'Cause I
Matter of
think
fact,
we had our
what you
conversation
do,
on
cause I
Facebook.
think I think I know exactly who you was, right? But I ain't want to type in the wrong name. So you DM me too. But I think I got you. I know I follow you because he been somebody I follow behind Crane or whatnot, and I think that's you.
Right. Yeah, 'cause me and Mom, boy, we talked. We had a good conversation for a couple hours, boy. We were building for
Yeah,
show, boy. Like real good build.
for sure, man. We definitely had a deep one.
Yeah. But it's amazing how everything is coming back full cycle and stuff, especially when you have the Lumbee and them got federal recognized and stuff, and then you got people that's Tuscarora saying they're not really Lumbee, they're actually Tuscarora, but
I've
but
been
like I
I've been
said,
looking at stuff all week, but boy, there's some people mad about all that. Boy, I just be sitting back laughing, just like boy, it's been a crazy week with all that going on, man. Like,
Definitely some people mad about that. They talking about how they enrollment is gonna go. Talking about they saying that you still got to live out there in order to get enrolled and stuff.
wow.
yeah, because they
Uh
Lumpy do they I guess they close their enrollment and
man,
they try
listen,
to open it up every once in a while. It's gonna be a whole hoopla,
I'll
boy.
I'll say this much. 'Cause I gotta take off. I'm finna go to the brunch. But I want everybody to sit back and think about what's going on with the Lumbee and how people are upset with them. And I want you to think about what we talked about today. And think about all the nations that would have came against us or will and willing to come against us for actually just simply being who the fuck we are. You get what I'm saying? And somebody saying, yeah, that's them. Even if you don't want them to say, yeah, that's them, how many people you think will really start coming at us? See, when we visited the different complexes and the different mountain complexes, when you go to specific certain ones, they'll tell you how much they don't want the Muskogee to have that shit because they know it's
Right,
older than them.
right,
But the people say the people gotta do what they do. But when the people do what they do, we already know the government even try to take it from them. Because if you got admixture, what we talked about, or they think you Negro, then they could say, well, you're not fully Indian, so it don't belong to you.
right,
So the shit that them people are doing on the internet to the Lumbee, if the United States government do what the Carolina proprietors did, do what the
right.
Crown did, and give them firearms and give them ammunitions, they would definitely come down on niggas. Don't think they won't.
Sure, right. Surely will.
That
Surely
hate that
will.
they perpetuating on the internet is on the internet. If they had the arms to do what they wanted to do and have the backing of their grandfather, which they
White
called the government,
grandfather.
their white
Right.
grandfathers, what they called the
White
government.
grandfather.
They
Mm-hmm.
got that backing. They feel like shit, we could do whatever we want because you get what I'm saying. And then think about it. If you are at amity with Indians who are friends to the government, then you are at amity with the government because the government has a deal to protect those Indians, has a duty
And
to
then
protect their Indians.
and then you be considered as being extinct. And that's what
So
they
now,
did. Yep.
so now, with you being an enemy to a friend of the government, it's not just the United States. Bitch, you call somebody from France to come do our stupid ass just so they don't have no hand in it because they friends. You see what I'm saying,
Right.
bro? These
Right.
people could call mercenaries or have mercenaries do what they need them to do. Say
Right.
people go to a mound complex and the Muskogee just so happen to be there. And one of them throw the first punch and all of them get their ass kicked. That means we are now at war with the United States Department of War.
Right. Because that's their children.
Literally.
That's why they wards.
So,
That's
come
right.
on, man. So think about that. Just think about the little stuff that they doing now, what our ancestors had to go through fighting the fact that they did not want to be on paper, number one. And
Right.
that two, these niggas trying to go at us for them so they can get recognized. Because
Mm.
if they go against the government, they're gonna be in my position. So why not go at somebody like me? You know what I'm saying? Cause come on,
Right.
man, this is what's going on. People gotta look at it for what it is. When people say what they say, man, you take that shit for what it is. The moment
Mm.
you they ain't really like that. All right.
Mm. Go to trial. That's right.
Hey,
That's right.
hey, and one of my favorite songs say, "Do them niggas bad first. They had the chance, they'll do you worse." For real.
Mm.
Listen,
Mm.
okay,
Mm. That's why they had to do the invention of the Creek Nation. Oh, we ain't gonna fuck with them
facts,
Yamasi niggas. Fuck
facts.
that. Look, we
Come
gonna deal
on,
with you. Right, right.
because they already was talking about the Creeks, but then they say, damn, the Creeks can't sue or be sued, so we got to make them an actual nation, and literally made them a nation and called it the
Right,
Muskogee Creek Nation. That's literally how that happened. Because
right.
the creeks running off with our horses, and the creeks doing what the Yamasis was doing to us, and we got to find a way to stop this shit. So we just gonna make them a nation. How we gonna do it? Man, we gonna have them niggas fight against each other, and we gonna supply this side. Cause see, if we supply this side, then we can get rid of the niggas in the Creek Nation. Why you say that? Cause then the same niggas that was whooping our ass 20 years ago. Come on, man. That's literally what happened, bro. So you
Literally.
divide the Creek Nation. Now you got Creeks and Seminoles, which we just read. They both came out of the same nation. So now you
Right,
got Creeks and you got Seminoles. So the Seminoles is running away from the Creeks who said, hey, we finna become a Creek Nation. Bro, imagine you wake up one morning and a nigga be, yeah, you know they signed the treaty. What for what? Oh boy, this town, and this town considered creep. So what everybody else is? Oh, y'all niggas. Ah, it's wartime. Wartime. What? What you mean? Come on, uncle didn't make it. Mom, what what you mean? You ain't see him in 3 days.
Right.
What you mean it's a white man at the door? Man, all right. All right. Niggas be I'm creaking. They did man, everybody wasn't on the same thing, bro. You got
Mhm.
fathers who was chiefs of leaders of tribes and clans and towns who had to go to war against their own son because they son, uncle, who's really their second father, but clan father signed the treaty with the European. So
It
now you gotta
became a
send your sister son to go do your son because your baby mama brother did some whole shit.
became a white stick.
That's crazy.
Hey,
That's how it
this
was, Lip.
happened well
That's how it
into the
was.
1930s,
I'm
man.
telling you, cuz. Say
Became a
what?
white stick, and now the red stick got to bust a white stick in the motherfucking head from being
I
a
said,
bitch.
I said these stories that you saying is literally documented all the way up into the 1920s, 1930s.
Okay.
Yeah, even to the 1940s, to be exact. Ooh,
So
boy, boy, boy.
yeah, man.
The split within the nation, you had the white stick government versus the red stick government.
Yep.
And that motherfucker was trying to play both sides. Ain't that a bitch?
It's all about the money, ain't it?
Huh, bruh?
So so somebody basically fighting for state and federal recognition, basically what they telling you is they need the government on their side. That's
Mm-hmm.
at least how I view it. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if
Because they say the
everybody see it
benefits.
the same. Right.
They say the federal benefits.
Uh-oh, that mean I gotta keep my shirt on all day because I just stained my shirt. I just
Cause,
bought this damn shirt.
cause look, cause my other nephew, he came on my page. He was like, "Oh," he said, "federal recognition is good for some tribes and not for other tribes." I said, "Look, if it ain't good for one, it ain't good for all, bruh. Well, dealing with the benefits and stuff. I'm like, dude, you talking about benefits? I said, this is why a motherfucker work, you know." He was talking about the Indian. He was talking about the Indian insurance. I said, bro, I don't have Indian insurance. I got insurance and I just had my surgery. So fuck.
Right.
Whatever they're trying to get from the federal government, I already got already. The fuck?
Yeah.
And I ain't fucking federally recognized. I
But
work.
some people need that because that make them feel Indian. They just don't want to say it, bro. And that's
That's what I
cool with
feel.
me. You feel me? That's cool with me. Like, bro, if you feel like if you gotta go dance with a bitch that said R.I.P. Charlie Kirk, yo boy, to get recognized as an Indian, but do your thing. Feel me? Like, I ain't mad at you. You feel me? I ain't mad at you, bro. Do your thing. Do whatever it take to get your family recognized. You feel me? I ain't got no quorums with nobody. Do your thing. But just know you have to speak and teach the facts of the matter. You get what I'm saying? I will never say I'm the only Iba'a. I would never say I'm the only Wale, the only Yama. I would never claim to be the only other thing that I was born into. That shit weird to me. You get what I'm saying? Some people don't own shit, and the only way they can own shit is by
Super,
putting it on paper. So put that shit
super
on paper.
weird, Lip. I mean, just weird. I'm the head chief of all the Yamasi and this and that and that. Go ahead, man.
Weird, man. How when there are other people claiming the same? So you basically telling them they lying about who the fuck they are?
Right,
Come on, man. Let's think about that. My question always been, and why can I name five Yamasi chiefs, but none of them are on a treaty together?
Mm,
What is the beef?
mm, mm.
Bro, all of us come from different families, bro. And all of us are intertwined. Me and Reem come from two different families, two different houses of the same ancestor, Jaguar and Puma. Like that, like you think I'm gonna be like, oh, shit, since we the bigger cat and the bigger family. So that's stupid because Pumas are 2, 3, 4 million older million years older than Jaguar. So I'm gonna let that divergence make me say I'm the only Jaguar clan or the only Panther family because we got the big cat. That's stupid. And it's taken away from everybody else legitimacy or everybody else rights because you want the numbers. You gotta have the numbers to get certain benefits. This how that shit goes. Then why a nigga file for state federal recognition, not get it, and then tell you it's wrong while secretly trying to do it because you gotta listen to the conversation, bro. If you just sit back and listen to people, they don't tell you everything. Now, for me, what people do to get their family right, that what they do. Am I gonna do it? Nah, I'm just gonna teach the facts of the matter. If niggas feel like federal recognition is good for them because they get certain benefits and they can get this land and we can start claiming this land, we can claim this mound site and we can do that. Okay, so at what point are you gonna sit there with your recognition and say, yeah, I ain't the only. It's many other motherfuckers that ain't get through the door, but maybe they don't want to come through the door. So you know what? Just as old times, this was our town. But niggas ain't talking about that. They're recruiting, bro. We're the first. We're the last. We're the only. Like, come on, bro. Like, too funny, man. Too funny. Who is this? Somebody coming in the vid. Who is this? Who is this? Who is this? Who is this? Boy, hell nah.
Is that
Hold
cream?
on. Y'all can hear me?
Who was that?
Yeah, we
Claim?
hear you.
Let me drop. Hold on.
Big K. Who is that?
That's Crane.
That's Claim? Okay.
Yeah, that's Crane.
Uh, I just check my guys. But yeah, man, talking they not it's too much uh principalities and things that play with a lot of people now. Um you start seeing on social media everybody want to be a chief and literally just chiefs. They don't even know Miku is anything like that. They don't know what a Tawa Miku is. They don't know family clan leader is. Nothing like that. They just want to get on the internet and chief, chief, chief. So
Self-proclaiming. Just, I mean, if you're gonna do that, just, I mean, if you gonna show the ancient way, hey, at least show. Just start with the clan. You know, who's your uncle? You know, is it your uncle? Is your mama brother? Your daddy brother? If it's your daddy brother, it's not your clan. Like,
right.
you got to be the proper way, proper channels, man. You know, at least show why you the chief. You know, were you elected as a chief by the people, or did you inherit it? There's a difference.
How you get your clan? Where did your clan's name come from? Or if you know your clan, how did the clan come about within your family? Like stuff like that. People don't know that. They just be it's a
Did the
whole
clan mothers and did the clan mothers bestow it upon you? Or was it hereditary from father to son?
right.
They don't know about that, you know. But, you
Cause,
know,
'cause that's a good thing that you just said right there, Pac. Because people got different stories. Like I'm not no elder. Uh, I'm not the. I should just telling I'm the middle child in my family. Uh, as far
right,
as my brothers and sisters and things like that. But what my grandmother left to me, and what my mother passed down to me, put me in a different position. When my mama tell me, "Hey, you the family record keeper. You keeping everything together."
right.
grandmother writing her will, she leave me her memories. So that's say a little something. You know what I'm saying? So people got different stories on how they get where they the position that they are inside their families. So
Hmm.
Right. People, I mean, I'm not gonna knock anybody because some tribes follow patrilineal, but like you said, Mont, if Big Mama named you that, so it be.
right.
Well,
You keep
it's like certain tribes that's up north, you know what I'm saying, is matriarchal, but then when it comes down to the Shakim, which is actually the chief, it goes from father to son. You know, the mother don't have no partake in that. That's dealing with the daddy. But when it comes down to the clan system, it's female.
facts, huh?
You know, because and that's why I be laughing at people like, oh, you a pretender, and I'm like, motherfucker, if I decide or choose to show my lineage, they will shut the fuck up. From both sides of my family, you know, but I mean, like, it's like bloodline is not up for debate. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? The family know what it is. And that all that matters. That's why we say get family together. You know, you ain't got to put your documents on the internet for the whole world to see. Fuck, some of the motherfuckers probably trying to steal your bloodline. But hold on, hey, how you? That's my people, you know. And like Lil did say, yeah, man, because nigga was trying to tie him to my family. Remember that when the dude was trying to tie himself to your family, Lil did.
Yeah, dude say great grandmother. He say, yeah, her story resonates with my family. I said, nah, fool, you ain't no fucking kin of mine.
Can't do that. You can't do that to me because I'm her Lata and I'm a genealogist. So I'm gonna do reverse and I'm gonna go search your shit and I'm gonna prove to everyone that you're not part of my family or you're not part of my clan. And it's gonna make you look dumb.
Right.
I got me dead on that thing. I had to snap off on but I'm like, nah, because you're not about to. And then they try to control the narrative too, like on the app. So when you and other people panels, lip no people panels, they got their moderators in there ready to mute you, kick you out. How you gonna sit up here and kick me out the panel, then try to tell my family story based off of something that you found you googled on the internet? So you read some stuff that somebody typed up, right? And then trying to tell my family story.
I'm riding through this Appalachian country right now, boy. So beautiful, man.
No, you said today your birthday?
Yeah, the big 4 month
Oh
40.
man, happy birthday, man. Sure. My niece's birthday.
Appreciate it.
Man,
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate that, cuz.
yeah. Give birth to another.
Ah, for sure. Messenger. Message.
Yeah. So is the show still on? Oh yeah, the live's still on. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he's still on. Cos trying to must be get back in. Her shit just been buffering. He disappeared just now. He in here, but he just ain't on. He
Yeah.
just ain't come back all the way on yet.
Mm.
I know he might be. He might not have good service right now or something. He probably not leave out the house. But he just been trying to get back on y'all to now.
Yeah,
He must be he must have left and the other laptop still going.
but yeah, man. Family is key. You know, and all the admixtures there is.
And right, and all of them admixtures, because I don't know people get on the internet and act like they just one pure race. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
they won't be super Indians.
And I mean, honestly, I had got to a point where I was like a couple days ago scrolling, just thinking I'm tired of to people that's supposed to be looking like us sitting on an app arguing about who is who, this and this and that. It's like, dang, bro, y'all don't fell far. Yeah, I don't fell into the distractions. Like, what? I thought everybody was on here supposed to be getting their shit together and trying to figure out how we going. But nah, people different.
Motherfucker won't be the first, and motherfucker won't always be the right ones.
Yeah.
And then look, and then you know what actually came to my mind when they say we the we 575. And I say, you know what? I need to go pay that as a pick three. But but I'm like, okay, so you the 575 or 75th child. That's what you are, the 575th child, which is a GI. Well, what is a GI? A GI is a government Indian. Everybody thought I was talking about the GI Bill now. So, but yo, and I'm like, just imagine if all 575 tribes was to come together and recognize each other, you know how powerful that would be. But you know what's so funny though? You got the book that's called The 500 Nations, and they were talking about that the 500 nations were basically what extinct, but yet you got 575 that's thriving. How did that happen? How you go from 500 nations in North America, as they so-called said, right in the book, to being gone, but yet you got 575 that's existing,
And more coming.
right? And you not talking about, and you ain't talking about the ones that's not acknowledged.
That's why I say more coming because now that the Lumbee done did what they did and got recognized, it might be more southeast. Like the PD might come up. Other stuff might.
Hmm.
You
That's
talking about the
crazy.
PD Indians?
Yeah.
Florence area.
Some of them tribes that might just be state recognized. They might try to push for a federal rec.
And then I saw one Lumbee say she was funny. And she kind of cute too. I was like, man, you know what? I need to go ahead on and drop some of that, some of that off in her. You know what I'm saying? And she was like, yeah. She said, since we federal recognized now, I know all y'all was bumping y'all gums and stuff, but y'all talking about we was in an Indian tribe. Well, if we was in an Indian tribe, how we got federally recognized then? And she said, oh, she said dealing with the what they call that, the NAIU or something, because they got the little thing for the federal recognized and the state recognized, and it's dealing with the I used to know it off by the top of it over my head, but I ain't mistaken about that right now. But anyway, um this was like 2 Novembers ago. They had the um they had the vote to see if they was gonna let the state recognized tribes, still be in the conference, you know. And so they did the vote, and yeah, the state recognized tribes was able to stay in because the federal recognized tribes wanted them out, you know. But that was crazy too.
So do they all get like the same benefits, the state recognized and the federally recognized ones?
They
Uh-uh.
recognize don't get no benefits.
Because the tribes I had looked at and seeing like what they be getting, they don't really like to get any damn thing.
Yeah, state recognized usually don't get. They don't. They might get secondary benefits like healthcare, but as far as like land and money, they probably don't. I think usually when you get federally recognized, they come with a section of land or whatever. I might know better on that than I do.
Yeah. You know, yeah. Yeah, the federal recognized get everything that's dealing with the federal programming and everything. And then like if somebody that's federal recognized, if they was to move, um, they still would be federal recognized wherever state they was in. But if you got somebody that's dealing with the state tribe and they go outside the state, they won't be recognized by, the other state or anything. But if you in another state and you federal recognized, that other state will recognize you as a federal Indian and not a state Indian. But that's funny how that all goes, you know.
I about to go. Hey, I about to go on the route, right? I won't say a joke real quick, Paul. What you call him? Brand Dunbar. That's
At y'all later.